back to the basic accounting equation. Who feels like they can explain what it means? Do you want me to hand the microphone over to you? How about it? Assets are what you own. Thank you. Liabilities are what you owe. Okay, good. I was getting a little nervous here, like we had to completely start over. And owner's equity is what you are, or the residual equity that exists after you take a look at your claims on ownership versus what you owe. Okay. I mentioned the $500,000 house yesterday. I can go live in a $5,000 house, but if I owe $500,000 on it, I'm worth nothing. Maybe a year or two goes by, I still am living in my $500,000 house, looking at the historical cost principle, like what I bought it for. But if I've reduced what I owe, all of a sudden, now I'm worth $100,000. Yes. The residual equity, yes, yes. Like if I'd sell my house right now, and by the way, I do not live in a $500,000 house, but I'd still have to pay off that ball and chain debt, but I'm sitting here with like a worth of $100,000. Yes, yes, you guys are getting it. Yes. Okay, let's review a few assets, liabilities, and owner's equities. Now remember, there's a couple things that make the owner's equity go up. There's a few things that make owner's equity go down, and basically this becomes the expanded accounting equation. Okay, list some things you own. The most liquid asset, we'll get into the word liquidity in chapters to come, but money. What's that called? Cash. Okay. What else do you own? Okay, so inventory. Yeah. What else do you own? Supplies. Absolutely. One we didn't make in our giant list yesterday, but the transactions talked about it. Equipment. Buildings. Vehicles. There's a few that we can't touch. You know, I can go touch my inventory. I can go touch my supplies or my cash. Two that are untouchable. They exist really only on paper. Prepaid insurance. So like to ensure that if my building burns to the ground, I have insurance to cover that and I own that insurance. The other one that we talked about yesterday was accounts receivable. What does that mean? What do I own here? I can't touch it, it's on paper. Yeah, I own the right to getting paid from someone who owes me money or an IOU to me. Okay? Things we owe on, kind of like accounts receivable, accounts payables are when there's an IOU to someone else. Those are more short-term versus the long-term ones like on a mortgage or on a car end up being what are called notes payable. And then everything else is what the owner is worth. Anytime the owner invests, it's a plus. Anytime revenue comes in from when we sell stuff, that's a plus. Anytime the owner withdraws money or stuff out of the business, it's a hit against their overall worth. And anytime they spend money on any business expenses. We'll later find out these actually don't belong on the balance sheet. They belong on the income statement, but that's for another day. Should we keep going with the transactions? I'm going to rip through the old ones really fast just to talk about them again, just because some of you are like, ooh, I'm a little confused. So remember, if you're confused, please know that others might be too. All right, so transactions, remember that dual effect. We're going to see out of these three camps, A, L, or OE, we're going to see at least two. I'm really glad because in the transactions today, there's one that has three effects, which you'll see totally what it means in a minute. But remember, it's going to have numbers going up and down and at least two things. Okay, and even sometimes it can be the same thing. So let's go. Ray Neal, some guy, decides that he's going to open a computer programming company and take money out of his pocket and put it into his business. So you're going to see cash go up and his owner's capital go up because he's investing in his business. Okay. I hope that you liked that I had these little transactions on a list like yesterday. I got a lot of head nods like, yes, we love it. Where we go find the dual effect and then we highlight the number and then we just plug it in. Okay. Next, he buys equipment for cash. Now the weird part is it's only under the asset umbrella at this point. I used to literally hang, you can even still see where I used to hang them. I used to hang umbrellas. I had an assets umbrella, liabilities, owner's equity, and then we talked about what falls underneath each of those umbrellas. If you want me to get them out again, I will. I ended up knocking my head into them all the time, so I took them down. But here, this is just the asset umbrella because we're gaining equipment, but we're using cash to pay for it. So you see equipment go up and you see cash go down as a result. Okay. The third one we did, we bought supplies. So just like last time we bought equipment, now we're buying supplies, but how do we pay for these supplies? We didn't. We bought them on account. We said, hey, Acme, send us a bill. Back here, we bought equipment, but we used cash to do it. On this one, we bought another asset, this time supplies, but there's an IOU that goes with it. This is a liability that we now owe. And it goes up because we owe on it. What do you think would happen when we pay part or all of that liability? You'll see it go down, but how are we going to use to pay the bill? Cash will go down. This one got a little bit of you confused yesterday, and that's okay. Anytime we sell something and they give us cash, you'll see cash go up, but their overall worth goes up because we sold something, and that's called revenue. We brought money in. How else do you think we can sell stuff? This is a real loaded question. We can sell stuff. If they don't give us cash, what would they give us? What asset would we get as a result of that? Accounts receivable, that means someone's going to owe us money. We're going to send them a bill. Good, you guys are starting to get this. I think that's the last one we did, right? Okay, good. Let's keep going now. So SoftBite, we know that this is the company. We know it's Ray Neal, but remember, it's the economic entity assumption. Junk by Jenny and Jenny Mars are technically different. SoftBite and Ray Neal are technically different here, okay? SoftBite receives a bill for $250 from the Daily News for advertising that they're going to pay, we are going to pay at a later date. So the question is, did we pay cash to run an ad in the newspaper? So do we owe them or do they owe us? We owe them. Okay, and I don't see the word account here, but we received a bill, which is the same as owing for $250. Where are we going to see the numbers here? Is there any assets involved here? No, we paid cash. We did not pay cash. Is there a liability that's going to go up? Yes. We see the owner's overall worth go down because of an advertising expense. Does 0 equal plus 250 minus 250? Okay, we did it right. Let's keep going. SoftBite provides, and I love this one, I'm so accounting geeky, I know it. SoftBite provides $3,500 worth of services for customers. You know, maybe they're working on the computers or whatever the case is. The company, so SoftBite, receives cash from the customers, $1,500, and then bills the rest of the balance. So we did $3,500 worth of service work. We basically sold it to the customers. Did the customers pay all of their bill with cash. They paid a portion of it with cash, and then do they owe us or do we owe them? They owe us. You're going to see revenue go up by $3,500 because we sold something. It wasn't a tangible that we threw in a bag and said, hey, thanks for shopping. It was like when you go get your hair cut. It was a service. We provided a service to these customers. And you also see cash go up by $1,500, but the IOU or the receivable goes up by $2,000. Do you think people do this often? Like they do a partial payment and then later they pay the rest of the bill? That happens a lot. It's why huge businesses have an accounts receivable department and an accounts payable department. You don't want to lose track of all the people who owe you money or who we owe money to. The bigger the business, the more people are in each of those departments. Okay? Let's think about this a minute. First of all, does the accounting equation still add up? Does 1,500 plus 2,000 equal 3,500? Yes. We have 1,500 more in our pocket cash. Why is AR an asset? I can't touch that they owe me 2,000. What part of that do I own? The right to eventually getting paid from them, right? Eventually, they're going to knock at my door, and this will go down eventually, and then what's going to go up? Cash. Good. So dual accounting, yeah, we've got at least 2 players here, but we even have a third because they decided, okay, well, we're going to give you a little bit of cash, but we're going to charge the rest. So do you see how sometimes you'll have 3 players instead of 2? The key there is that 1,500 plus 2,000 still equals 35. Oh boy. We're paying a bunch of expenses. Circle the word expenses. We know that is going to go down for owner's equity. How do we pay for all these expenses? Keep digging, keep looking. Cash. We paid our store rent, we paid our salaries, we paid our utilities. Now, you're going to see minus 600, minus 900, minus 200. 600 was store rent. 900 was salaries. 200 was utilities. Could I have lumped these 3 into 1 minus cash? I could have. I think it's important we leave these separate though so that we know who they're going to separately. On a test, if you would have taken 600 plus 900 plus 200, so in other words minus 1,700 there. If you would have done 1 minus cash and 3 minus expenses, I would not take points off on that. But if you like it that way, that's fine too. SoftBite pays its $250 daily news bill in cash. I see cash. Is it going to go up or down if we pay it down? Does this really have anything to do with the expense? No, the expense already happened. We're paying our bill. So this already happened. I wouldn't worry about that. Now we're paying our bill off instead. Students will get kind of tripped up on that. They're like, oh, is it rent? Is it advertising again? No, the advertising already happened. We didn't pay cash for it. We charged it. Now we're paying the bill. So here is the bill, the original bill from the newspaper. Now you're seeing it reduced. Is that a good thing from the AP perspective? Yeah. Whew. We're getting rid of that ball and chain, or that monkey on the back, so to speak. That's a good thing to see that go down. Is it worth having cash go down for it? Yeah, because now we don't owe them. We still owe this. Jeepers. What did we buy? What did we buy? Supplies. So there's still a supplies monkey on our back rolling around there. what's happening in this one. SoftBite receives $600 cash. I'm going to circle cash, and I'm going to put a plus sign by it. From customers who had been billed for services back in transaction 6. Remember when we sold $3,500 worth of stuff? They only gave us $1,500 cash, but they had this bill sitting there. My question is, did they pay all or part of their bill? They paid part of their bill. And then it becomes the job of the accounts receivable person to knock on their door, call them and say, you know, next time could you pay in full? Maybe we have some agreement set up that they only have to pay certain increments. But if we got cash, cash is going to go up. AR is going to go down. That's also a good thing. Why are we a little bit mad? Why are we a little bit mad? They still owe us quite a bit. They still owe us $1,400. But are we also going to be like, okay, thank you for paying a little bit. I'm still a little bit mad though. And that becomes the job of the accounts receivable department to recover those funds. But you know what? We shouldn't be that mad because look at here, we still haven't paid $1,600 of a bill that we owe. Last one. Ray Neal, we're back to the guy, not the business now. Ray Neal withdraws $1,300 in cash from the business for his personal use. What? Ray Neal? What are you doing? Well, he owns the business. Can he take some money out? Absolutely. So I see cash as a player. Cash is going to go down. Ray Neal withdraws. That's your other account that's called drawing. Is drawing going to positively or negatively impact owner's equity? Ray Neal is sitting happy, but SoftBite is going to see a little bit of a hit. Okay, so you're going to see cash go down by $1,300, and you're going to see owner's drawing go down by $1,300. Just remember in the expanded accounting equation, the plus goes with this, the minus goes with this, plus goes with revenue, minus goes with expenses. Here's where you cross your fingers, hold your breath, because we're gonna vertically add up everything. And you better hope that accounting equation, ALLO, is in sync. I'm not going to make you get your calculators out. I'll give you the numbers. 15,000 minus 7,000 plus 1,200 plus 1,500 minus plus minus equals we have $8,050 in cash sitting there in the account as it went up and as it went down, as it fluctuated throughout our month. We know we're a little bit mad that we have all these ARs still floating out there, but at least it's not 2,000. They paid some of it. Supplies is pretty easy. Equipment is pretty easy. Those assets equal $18,050. As you move to the right side of the T, all of that better equal $18,050 because the accounting equation, ALLO, needs to be in sync. And it is. Going back to what Ms. Wyam said when she came last week, accounting is black and white. What would you do if this wasn't equal? You would start backtracking, making sure you did your numbers correct, making sure the pluses and the minuses were correct. What I can't have you do is, Mrs. Mars, my accounting equation doesn't add up. Why? Well, start going transaction by transaction and looking for your mistake. Are you feeling a little bit better about it today? It's because we've done it now a couple days. I would like to pause and do some end of chapter work with you. We are going to do some end of chapter work for the third section. We are going to do some end of chapter work for the fourth section. Whatever we don't finish will become your homework. Okay. This is on my website. If you feel like you need to write it down, please do so. But like I said, it's on my website, and I'd like you to have it ready for class tomorrow. Whatever we don't get through today will become your homework, but we still have just under a half an hour left. Some of it's going to be in your notes. Some of it's going to be in your handouts. Yep. In fact, the questions, we're going to just go add on to the questions that you started from the previous day. You did questions 1 through 10. Now we're going to do 11, 12, and 13. I'll tell you when we get into the handouts or like the workbook pages. If you don't want to write all this down, take a picture of your screen or it's on the website. The questions that we're going to do are all on page 33. Brief exercises 1-1, 1-2, 1-3, 1-4, and through 1-5 are on 33 and 34. Jenna asked a good question about, are we going to be using those workbook pages? And we should be here eventually. I'll give you the next section, 2 exercises, so we'd keep going, because remember it's questions, brief exercises, exercises. Exercise 1-6 and 1-7 can be found on page 37. Okay. Since we're here together, I'm gonna work on them with you together. So let's begin with the questions, and those would be in just in your notes. Back to page 33. Question 11, what is the basic accounting equation? I'm totally fine with you putting A equals L plus OE. We also know we can get a little bit tricky in our math. We could say A minus L equals OE. But the first one is definitely the true accounting equation. Number 12, define the terms assets, liabilities, and owner's equity. And part B asks, what items affect owner's equity? Or where do the 2 pluses come from? Where do the 2 minuses come from? Why don't you quickly answer both A and B? Define what an asset is, define what a liability is, define what owner's equity is. Yes, you can put our kind of Mrs. Mars terms. Yes, absolutely. Own, worth. Of course, the answer is going to be lots more detailed. And then the expanded accounting equation is basically B. Owner's investments are pluses, drawings are minuses, revenues are pluses, expenses are minuses. Go ahead and do number 13 as well. It's asking you, out of that list, find the liabilities. And I'm going to give you a hint. There's 2 of them. Anytime you see the word payable as part of an account, it's a liability. You have to pay someone. You have a debt that you owe to someone. So anytime you would see the word payable, so far we've only been talking accounts payable, notes payable, salaries and wages payable. Who do you think you owe in that case? Your employees. Yeah. I think even though the question didn't ask it, let's identify which allo all of them belong to. Cash, asset. Accounts payable, we know is a liability. Owner's drawing. OE, is that a plus or a minus? Minus. What are they typically doing when they withdraw? They're taking what out of the business? Money, you know, they can probably take product too. You know, if Bonnie Kentop at Be Inspired needs a scarf, you know, she can list that as owner's drawing at the value of it, stuff like that. AR, or accounts receivable. Why are they an asset? What do we own there? The right to getting paid eventually. Do we own supplies? How do we pay for supplies? One of two ways. Cash or on account, and if we charge it and we owe someone, it's a accounts payable or a liability. Very good. Do we own equipment? F. Okay. I love teaching you about how equipment depreciates. It's one of my favorite chapters, depreciation. Salaries and wages payable. We identified that as a liability. We owe our employees. Service revenue. Owner's equity making it go up in value. Rent expense makes it go down. Very good. Let's go on to the next one. I think the brief exercises are actually in your workbooks. Do you see brief exercise 1-1 there? BE11, is it there? Okay, fabulous. What they're asking us to do is determine the missing amounts. So on this, you basically need to think allo. And on the first one, $90,000 worth of assets. $50,000 worth of liabilities. What are they worth? 40 grand? Just like my $500,000 house example, if I owe $500,000, I'm worth nothing. Keep going with this very simple math on 1-1. On the second one, if we have $40,000 of liabilities or payables out there and we're worth 70, it can be assumed we have 110,000 in assets. I don't like how they present this. Is yours more like A equals L plus OE? Okay. Mine is just a weird answer key. Yeah, I like that a lot better. And then the last one, if we have $94,000 in assets and we're worth 53, the difference is 41,000 in what we owe. It's just, I like that allo format way better than my answer key format. Let's go on to brief exercise 1-2. I'm going to keep going so you don't have much homework here. Given the accounting equation, so allo, answer each of the following questions. The liabilities of Greig Company are 120,000 and the owner's equity is 232. What amount is their total assets? Do they have a nice little format there for you? Is it back to the same? Okay. Why don't you try that set on your own? It's just that you have to read instead of see numbers. Your answers are there if you want to cross-reference them. I'll say it one more time. I like your format in your workbook a lot better than my answer key. What questions can I answer about brief exercise 1-2? Pretty straightforward. Good. What does your 1-3 look like? Okay. Flip over to page 34. At the beginning of the year, Sealert Company had total assets of 800, total liabilities of 300. So what are they worth at the beginning of the year? 500,000. If total assets increased and total liabilities decreased, what would be the amount of owner's equity? So 800 plus 150, 300 minus 80,000. We're wondering what they're going to be worth at the end of the year. So they started with 800 in assets, added 150,000 more, started with liabilities of 300,000, and good for them, they paid some of their bill. You're looking at a new net worth of $730,000. This was the beginning and what happened throughout the year. This was the beginning and what happened throughout the year to have a new overall worth of $730,000. What can I answer on that? Just digging for the numbers a little bit more. Try the next two. I think these are all independent. They don't like build off each other, I don't think. So with this brief exercise 1-4, my answer keys may be a little bit weird compared to yours, but in the first one they're looking for X, or they're looking for what are the assets with all these liabilities and fluctuations in owner's equity. When you add some capital, when you take out money, when you bring money in through revenue, and when you take money out for expenses. It's just impacting ALLO, but at more of an advanced level. In the second one, or in brief exercise 1-4B, total assets are given, they're asking you to figure out liabilities, and then based on all that owner's equity change. And in the last one, they give you total assets, and they say liabilities are equal to 2/3 of the total assets. From there, figure out owner's equity. Still just always remembering that simple assets equal liabilities plus owner's equity, or the simple accounting, basic accounting equation, excuse me. What can I answer? You have one more brief exercise to do. Is it in your workbook though? Is brief exercise 1.5 in your workbook? No? You know what? Let's actually just bypass it, because it's asking you to take a look at that list again and decide whether it's A, L, or OE. Since there's no workbook page for it, let's just skip that. Let's talk about it instead, just kind of like we just did. So we're skipping 1.5. We're just going to talk about it instead. It's just that we'd have to flop back to your notebook. Accounts receivable. Do we own it? Do we owe on it? Is it an owner's equity? Accounts receivable is an asset. We own the right to getting paid, versus any of the payables are liabilities because we owe on those. We have to pay on those. So again, salaries and wages payable, B. Notes payable, F. We owe on those. Those are liabilities. Do we own equipment? So it's an asset. Do we own supplies? Asset. Owner's capital is owner's equity. So instead of having you write that down, I thought we'd just talk about it instead. So now, here, never mind. That's the answers we just went through. Let's get you set up to do these two. I think, in all reality, you're probably going to do these at home. Let's take a look at exercise 1.6 and exercise 1.7 that you can find on page 37. These two you should be able to find in your workbook as well. So you keep paging in your workbook until you find exercise 1.6, exercise 1.7. Are they in the single sheets or are they in the folded sheets? They might be in the folded sheets. So you would look for exercise 1.6, exercise 1.7. Did any of you find them yet? Okay, so not the folded ones. They must be back in the workbook then. I don't have a workbook page in front of me. We're looking for exercise 1.6 and exercise 1.7. Are they not in there? Okay, so that means they're not in the workbook. It's the textbook authors, like, I wish they'd provide all or nothing with the workbook, but whatever. I'm not about to be a textbook writer. So if you think back to that transaction list, do any of you have that handy? You know, that like supplemental handout that I gave you? Yes, that one. So could you easily turn this into a notebook piece of paper? Yes, so I would like you to do that. Go to an empty notebook paper. This is for exercise 1.7, but that's okay. So I would put exercise 1.6 on the top of a notebook paper. Okay. And then across your page, assets equal liabilities plus owner's equity, and draw yourself a T. And then you're going to do the same thing for 1-7. Notice in exercise 1-6, they don't give you any dollars. So you're basically going to do stuff like this. Here, let me give you a screen so it's not so much to look at. So in this problem, the first one, I don't have a book in front of me. Tell me what 1-6 says for number 1 or A. Okay, no dollar amount there, so it's cash and investment. So you're going to see a plus cash and a plus capital. That's all you're going to do. There's no dollar amounts that you're going to do. You're just going to say plus or minus and which account. Let's do the next one. Kate, do you mind reading the second one? Okay, so what do you think is going to happen under assets? Cash is going to be a minus, and then under owner's equity, we're going to see minus rent. So do you see how you're going to set that up? Okay, and then as far as 1-7 goes, try it. Try doing it. I think there's dollar amounts there. Just read the descriptions as best as you can and go with it. So there's your little bit of homework, 1-6 and 1-7 for exercises.